now. Hello, good afternoon. I'm sorry, I was just starting to talk and my microphone was still muted. Apologies. Welcome back from our summer break, and welcome back to myself, to everyone else. This is our Real Talk session. My name is Gaby Burt. I'm International Director for The Journey. I've been with The Journey and with Brandon Base for 27 years now. And this little program we started to develop earlier in the year to bring some everyday stories into consciousness, into awareness. And today is a very, very special one. And I have a beautiful, beautiful guest here today. Her name is Karin Höfling. She is an artist, a singer-songwriter, and her story is one that doesn't get often talked about. It's actually about sexual abuse. Karin came to my awareness some time ago when she wrote another song and spoke to Brandon, and Brandon shared it in one of our Q&A sessions or satsang sessions, as she calls it. And so this is how we got to know each other. But Karin is somebody who's did the Journey Intensive and a follow-on advanced retreat as well, and has had huge changes in her life. And so let's bring Karin into the room, please. And let me introduce you personally to Karin Höfling is her name, and Pearl Lovely Light is her professional name. And just a little bit of a preamble, Karin, also, because this song is quite, I've listened to it quite a few times now. It's tough to listen to because you talk about officially about what it felt like to live with sexual abuse. And when you listen to the music, it's a beautiful song, but when you open with the word, it's quite horrendous. And so the purpose of this song, I'm going to let you share your intention with it. And so it talks quite freely about what it felt like for you as a youngster when that was part of your life, of your everyday life, and what your intention is with bringing this issue into awareness, into consciousness.
Yeah, first of all, I say a heartfelt hello to you and to everyone who's watching. Thank you for having me. Thank you for letting me share my story. Well, it's the only kind of love. I really can't remember how the words came into my mind. But as I listened to the song before I really released it, I knew that I wanted to take the listeners right into the situation of being abused in this moment. And this came to me shortly before I really released it. So, and the second is that it's a cry for help to my mom for not helping me, not really listening to. She wasn't really listening to me, and so my intention is to take all the listeners right into the situation of being abused, how it felt, and what it did to me.
Wow. You definitely made that happen, Karin. So we're going to play a part of that song in just a little while. But I also just wanted to speak a little bit about, because in my summary of talking about today, I said, is it possible to clear or to heal from trauma caused by sexual abuse? And you came to the journey in 2021. You did a Journey Intensive. And that was, you didn't come to it because you wanted to heal from that. You just came to it for whatever was your reason at the time. And then you also did an abundance retreat at the following year. Just share a little bit about what happened at the Journey Intensive, what kind of brought you there, what, you know, why did you come in the first place, and what happened? Just briefly, that would be lovely.
Okay. So I read, as many of you maybe did the same, I read the book, Brandon's book. And after I read the book, I knew I wanted to experience that myself. This was really my first response. I want that experience too. So I got online, I came over your website, and then I said, well, I do the journey intensive in 3 days, and I have no expectations. I didn't really know how that would be working. And after the 3 days, it was, it was such a, it was such a liberating feeling. So then I really knew, when I stay with this and I do another of these seminars, um, it will be possible to heal so that I can go on with my life. And it's only when I look back that I really can say what have changed before and after the journey. So how I behaved, how my behavior was before I did the journey. Because when you're in your daily work, you do not really recognize what drives you from the inside. So
No.
when I look back now, I can say that it's really liberating myself, and it cleared all of many beliefs, and it's just a liberating feeling. Yeah,
Wow,
so I would say.
beautiful. Yeah, it's interesting because I think we all have our various reasons for coming to this workshop. And I mean, in my case, it was like I was just I was setting out as a homeopath. I wanted to learn some additional tools, and it
Mhm.
wasn't until I was right in it, in the middle of it, I realized how much I needed that work. I only came because I wanted it for my clients.
Mhm.
Didn't think, if this this silliness of I'm okay, everything's all right with me, and I absolutely realized how much I needed this work. And this is really where my journey began.
Mm.
And in looking back, I didn't realize how low I was at that point,
Mm.
how kind of I was running on the edge of depression, but I just kept keeping myself busy. I guess it wouldn't have taken much longer to take me to the point of burnout. And
Mm.
by clearing some of the stuff that I carried with me, and I have no background like you, Karin. I have no background of sexual abuse or anything like that, and it doesn't need to be as horrific as what your experience was. Um, but I get it, when you said, I want that too. So I guess you're lucky, because there was a book. When I came to the journey, there wasn't a book. Brandon hadn't even written the book yet. So the book was published in 99, and I
Mhm.
did my first journey intensive in 96. So I just met Brandon at an introductory talk. And when she spoke about taking people into what she calls source, which I heard about through Deepak Chopra and thought he called it the infinite intelligence. I
Mm.
really wanted that. And there was a part of my heart that was really drawn to this. And I didn't know how to do that. And I thought, if there is somebody out there who can teach that, oh my God, that's the best news on planet Earth. And I didn't really know all of what that meant. But I guess in your case too, we had a little chat earlier on, and you were sharing with me that during one of the meditations on one of the mornings, the abuse issue came up. So I guess the body, the being, knows what needs to be worked on, what needs to come to the surface, and what needs to be cleared. And so what happened then? So it obviously came. Did that issue come in one of your processes during the journey intensive?
Well, I really can't remember, but I have to say that in one of these morning meditations that you mentioned, I was just sitting on my couch doing what I do every day. And then out of a sudden came the word abuse. And at once I had two pictures in mind. One while I was talking to my mom and she didn't understand what I wanted to tell her. And the other was me as a picture of me lying right beside the perpetrator. So this came at once, and I was simply shocked because over more than 20 years, I didn't even think about a thing called abuse. So it was completely out of my consciousness. So, and then I came across the book. So as we all know, there are no coincidences. I think being aware of this drama has brought me to the next step, to the method I can heal with. So, and after really having this in my consciousness, I was in such a rage, and I really couldn't believe it. So I really think that it was all part of the journey intensive, but I also know that I think it's like an onion, you pull one layer after the other. So I think it took a while, because then I become a member of the My Journey community after the journey intensive. And this gave me the opportunity to really work on the issues on a daily basis or on a regular basis, And I think to really stay with the journey and doing it over and over again, and not only for the intensive or for another seminar. So this really has the effect of healing, I think. And there were a lot, I don't know how many times I sat at the campfire with the perpetrator, but I think 10 or more, I don't know. And with my mom also. I can't count the times that my mom was at the campfire with me. So
just if we have people here who don't quite know what the journey is, part of the journey process actually helps us to release the words that we haven't spoken. So there is a younger you that went through a trauma. There's a younger you that went through some kind of experience that wasn't resolved at the time when it happened, and then we push it away. And as you quite rightly said, I call you Pearl now because it feels weird to call you Karin when there's no Karin written down. So,
okay.
So you kind of, it's almost an opportunity to get back to this younger you, whatever age she was. And sometimes it's a 4-year-old, a 6, 8, 10, 12, whatever age. But this younger you has something that she wasn't able, or he wasn't able to speak, to release, to say, to feel. And then it gets pushed away. And that's what I wanted to say. As you said, I think we just put something away. You hadn't even thought about it for 20 years, but it doesn't mean it's gone away. It's somewhere, it is somewhere pushed away in our cellular structure. And then life keeps reminding us, then we have to undergo certain situation where we get reminded of what happened, God knows when, however many years ago. And so at this campfire, that younger you gets invited to empty out, to speak the unspeakable, to speak the words that she wasn't able to speak at the time. And eventually, at the end, when everything's been said, and this is something that Brandon speaks, and because forgiveness is not something that we know much about or we find very easy. But when you have cleared out all the words, actually forgiveness, genuine forgiveness, comes in the wake of it. And forgiveness isn't about forgiving somebody for their actions or their behavior. It's actually something to release that issue. It's forgiving the other person at the level of the heart or at the level of the soul, and then we can disconnect. And this forgiveness is actually for us, for our own healing, more than the other person, is the truth of it. Because there's something that I often talk when I speak about forgiveness, because it was Nelson Mandela who said, not forgiving somebody is like drinking poison, like you drink the poison hoping the other person dies. So that's the essence of not being able to forgive. And how it is possible to forgive sexual abuse is incomprehensible. And the words that Brandon writes about it is like, it's not the actions, the behavior can never and cannot be condoned, but the soul and the heart of that person, so we can let go of the issue. And that's an integral part of what we learn at this first entry-level workshop, the Journey Intensive. And so I guess you came to that point too. And I want to just talk about the forgiveness, and then I would love to play a bit of your song after that. But if you can share what happened with forgiveness for you in that situation, because it is tough. That is tough.
Yeah, it really is. And I think it took 3 or more journeys to really forgive from the heart. Well, when you are in the journey, doing the journey, you say, well, I forgive you from the bottom of my heart. But to not only say the words, but to feel takes a few journeys, I think.
Yeah.
And what I think is so really, really super in the journey is that when you do these conversations and the dialogue, the emptying out at the campfire, even if the person you talk to is not in real there with you sitting and talking, it does, on the other hand, it does something to the person. And I can only tell, and this is what I really want to give you all, is when I announced the release for The Only Kind of Love, I did a short YouTube video and to announce the song and what it's all about and what it does to me, and that the sexual abuse is still a taboo theme in society. And I had this on my WhatsApp status, and on the other day, my perpetrator called me and said, well, have you got some time? I need to come and see you. And he came, and then he was sitting at my kitchen table and was saying, well, I saw your video and I looked into your eyes. And for the first time, I really felt what I have done to you. Wow. And we were both sitting at this table crying, and he asked me for forgiveness. And I said to him, well, I already have forgiven you. And he said, well, I have to speak it out loud. And and for me, it was for the first time I was seen in my pain from the perpetrator. And wow. This, I think we both do not forget ever this situation. Yeah. It's, yeah, and that is so lovely that it's not only happening during the journey, but in real life. So this is possible. You don't have to, but it's possible. So
yeah, it's so true. And I have heard that so many times, that when, you know, forgiveness happens, there is something that's happening with the other person, that there's a shift in consciousness, you know, and we don't necessarily have to get together and discuss it in real, but when this shift happens, something changes, something shifts, something happens. So I'm sure the people are really curious about this song. It's called The Only Kind of Love. It was published on the 7th of July this year. And Karin, or Pearl, has offered to put all the proceeds from this song into a charity, into an association that looks after people who suffered from sexual abuse. And so that's a beautiful, beautiful cause. And we don't play the whole song, but we're going to play about half of it. You get it. So the song is very beautiful. The words are what they are, and we've already spoken about it. So let's listen to a little bit of your song.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for sharing it.
Today I was waking up with a fear. Suddenly there's a picture so clear. You're already lying there behind me, and I'm so scared that you will touch me. My heart was trembling inside. No one saw the tears I cried. And still it seems to me that this will never be the only kind of love I get. And so that gives to me a sense of threat. Hey, why does love mean betrayal and pain? Is there someone to free me from this chain? What have you done to this little girl? Didn't you know you've crushed the whole world? She was desperately seeking for love, but only the angels came from above. My heart was trembling inside. No one saw the tears I cried.
Thank you. Wow, it brings tears, it nearly brings tears to me too. So I hope we haven't scared people off, but it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity, and that is your intention with the song, to bring awareness to a subject, to something that is still not talked about, is still a taboo in society. It happens much too often. It happens to far too young people. And there is an invitation here also to know it is possible. There is life after, as you so beautifully said, Pearl, there is life after abuse. There is life after sexual abuse. And that once you started clearing all of this, and once you even went then to the next, the abundance workshop in 22, which was the year following the two workshops, it was kind of everything started to fall into place. And your career as singer-songwriter, I've asked you about this in our little chat before, you've always sang. I can obviously believe it. You have such a beautiful voice. And and so it's a beautiful opportunity. But it's what I also want to say here is that of someone, if you have a friend, if you have a girlfriend, if you have a friend where that there's been something going on in the past, that they have experienced abuse, that they have experienced sexual abuse. There is more abuse, not just sexual. There is physical abuse, there is verbal abuse. Sexual is probably the hardest of all of it. And but to know it's possible to come free of it, and that it can happen. It can happen in a weekend. It can happen. You can just come and bring the intention to a workshop, as powerful as the journey is, and come and join. And it's really, we've done so much. Since COVID, we had to bring all of our workshops online. And it's easy, you can do it from home. You can do it from the comfort of your home. We have been able to offer such a low price. It's less than half than what it used to cost when we had to go into live seminars. And so please, if there is someone who and it may just be, what did you call it, Pearl, you've kind of lost your confidence, you lost your lightness. There is something.
My basic trust. I've lost my basic trust. Yeah. And I think this is the hardest one. And I have to say, and this is why what I'm also singing about, at this time, I really thought that this is love, that this is really love. And you all through my life, when I look back, it's everything, every time when I got a glimpse of love, I thought, this is it. This has to be love. And this has all its root cause in this sexual abuse. And my message is to all those who are affected and have experienced that themselves, there is a life afterwards, but you have to look at this pain once again. And it hurts. Yes, it hurts. But afterwards, we are free. And if we don't do that, I think, in my opinion, we give the perpetrator even more power over ourselves, because I have the right to live a fulfilled life in abundance in every way, and not say, so go out and face your fears. And yes, it hurts, but you are not alone. So there are so many people. And when you join the journey, I really have to say, joining the My Journey membership really changed also my life, because I have found friends for a lifetime. And if you are with people who have experienced the same things or other dramas, there are unfortunately a lot, but there are friendships for a lifetime. So I really can say the 3 closest friends I have now are from the journey. Wow. And I'm so grateful for that. I can't tell you. So this is also, I think, a very beautiful outcome from the journey. So finding friends and like-minded people. So
it's interesting. I was just trying to read somebody's message, but I'll do that in a minute. But as I was listening to your song and as I was hearing you, it's the meaning of this only kind of love is we are on a search, especially as youngsters or as teenagers. And I said to you before we started the interview, I said, I don't share that in my background. And if I'm really, really honest, what I would have to say is that there has definitely been sexual abuse, but I permitted it. I gave full permission, but I was just looking for love. And I thought that was it, and I just couldn't believe I couldn't find it. It wasn't touchable. It wasn't there. But if I look back, it wasn't, I gave permission. So it was, I said yes every time. But as you said, looking for love, and you think then, well, if this is it, and so coming to a point in your life when it then becomes real, and also clearing all this old crap from consciousness of what we have given permission to, and then saying no, and just saying, yes, and recognizing that the love that we're seeking from the outside, that the love that we're seeking in other people is already here. We are that.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to add, because during the journey, you just recognize it's all within yourself. So you don't have to look at the outside for love, because all you ever need is right here inside yourself. You just
Yeah.
have to have the courage to look and to search for it, to look after it. And so, yeah, the Journey Intensive is such a beautiful way to experience this inner light, this inner peace, and this inner love. So, yeah, I just can recommend it. Try it.
I just want to get back to this lady here. Her name is Lawrence, or Laurence, or Lawrence. I'm not sure where you're coming from. What if no memory comes up, but there are signs like nightmares of sexual abuse and unrelentless rage and this obsessive thought of abuse and other things? Can we still heal with the journey? It's a beautiful song. I cried so much, still crying because it resonates so much. So, Lawrence, the answer to this is yes. You don't have to see it. You don't have to have the memory. I've heard this so many times that people weren't sure. Is it something that's going on in my head? Is it something that I'm making up? At the end of the day, it's a consciousness. It's a feeling that you have. And when you go after that, it will become clear. You know, it will become clear what it is, what it comes from. To feel abuse doesn't necessarily have to be sexual abuse. It can be something else. But until you go after it and put out a prayer to want to clear this, and in reading your words, I really, really invite you to go after it for your own freedom, for your own sanity, for your own happiness, for your own fulfillment. You are worth it, and you don't have to have this running in the back. And this is also now I'm being reminded of in our conversation. You know, whatever happened to us in childhood, and sometimes we bring some of this stuff even into this lifetime from before or through generation, you know, through family stuff. And there is a baggage, and we carry this baggage around with us. And there comes a time when it's enough, and we can actually let the baggage go and let the stories go and come live, you know, let go and forgive and take life for what it is. And life can be absolutely amazingly beautiful and can be full of purpose. And sometimes we don't know why things have to happen. Maybe it's your job, Pearl, to bring awareness to a subject that we don't want to talk about. Who wants to talk about sexual abuse? Nobody wants to talk about that because it doesn't really happen, and yet it happens all the time. It was actually, there was something I wanted to add to it too. And we've just come back from an incredible journey where we've been celebrating Brandon's 70th birthday, and we've been on a cruise. And so 41 people, all journey beloveds, people from around the world who've worked with the journey, for the journey, been with the journey. We came together for this week-long celebration. And one of the guests there is a dear friend of mine and also journey practitioner who runs a program in Israel. He runs 3 hospitals. And for the last few years, he has developed a program of rehabilitation. So in the hospital, people get treated for whatever illness they come with, but he's chosen 3 themes. One is heart disease, one is cancer, and one is fibromyalgia. And what he told me, I mean, apart from the fact that they have incredible success with the rehabilitation program after treating their clients or their patients, is that in fibromyalgia, most of the women that have come through his program, and I'm not saying that this is everyone, but most of the people in his rehabilitation program who come through fibromyalgia and weakness and energy problems, all of that stuff, had experienced sexual abuse, that those were the issues that actually rose to the surface. It makes total sense to me, because you just got to keep it down, and it's a level of suppression that drains the life force, life energy from the body, from the being, and it is possible. And so seeing you here being absolutely full of life and full of joy makes me know, and I have seen so much of it over the last 27 years, that it's possible. It's possible to heal. It's possible to heal this issue. It's possible to heal all issues, whether they are on the physical, whether that's an illness, or whether it's something emotional, something we can let go in the past. So, but thank you, Lawrence. I think, Chris, if you can share the page now, that would be great. If we have a page for the Journey Intensive where people can actually sign up. We have the next event coming up at the end of this month. It's on the 30th of September. If you know somebody, or if you yourself are listening to this interview, to this talk, please come and join us. Come to the Journey Intensive. We're always supported by a beautiful group of journey practitioners. So if there's anything that needs help, any stuckness, anything, then somebody can come to your aid. Somebody can help you and has the experience and has studied and been with Brandon to go through the full journey practitioner program. So
once you have taken the first step into the journey, you are never alone.
Beautiful. And I love how you speak about the My Journey community. You know, this is something that we offer to all of our journey graduates, that we offer to people who've come through the Journey Intensive, because sometimes you don't always have somebody to continue to work with. And what we do there is we give the opportunity to continue to do journey work, to look at whatever comes up. We have live sessions, we have little groups together where people can meet up on a regular basis, and it's powerful and it's healing. And online has had its issues, and it has so many advantages, so many advantages, because it's become so easy, it's become more affordable, it's become more private. You know, we don't have to sit next to a stranger. We don't have to travel to a city, into a hotel. We don't have to share our stories with anyone. You're in your own home and you experience exactly that. And my experience, I have taken groups through every and any workshop that the journey offers in these last 4 years, 23 years, in these last 3 years. And the benefits are the same. You know, people come through it in the same way, have the same clearing, the same powerful forgiveness, everything. So I can't speak more highly of it. And it's not because I'm biased, because I work for the journey because I love what I see. And the reason I'm still here after 27 years is I have always loved what I see with the journey, with Brandon's work, of how people's lives can transform in an instant. By going through sometimes just one process, and it changes, you know, it changes lives. And that's the powerful. Have you got any final message for us today, Pearl?
Well,
buy your song.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes, buy my song, please.
Pearl, yes, your song is on Spotify.
Yeah.
And it's called The Only Kind of Love. It's called
You find it also by with Apple Music and Amazon. You also find it there. So if you like, but you also find it on Spotify. And
well, like The Only Kind of Love. Perfect. Sorry, I've got to
no, it's okay. It's okay. Well, the message I want to give out to you is go for your dreams and live your dreams. Everything is possible. The limitations we have are only here So, and this was, the heart was beating when you were 3 weeks in the womb of your mom, and this came afterwards. So always do what your heart is telling you. You are always right.
I can absolutely concur with that message. Beautiful. Well, I think this is a beautiful way of ending. So I thank you so much, Pearl, for first of all, for the courage it takes to face an issue like that. And not only that, but to speak about it, to sing about it, and to want to bring awareness to it, because it does need healing. And people do need to know that the love that we are seeking is already here. You know, it's who we are.
Yeah.
And nothing outside can give it to us. And so the only kind of love is a beautiful reflection of the traumas that we undergo by searching this love when it's already here. So if you find it for yourself, the people around you will get a glimpse of it. I promise. It's one of those, it's contagious. It ignites.
Everything's changing. Everything's
yeah. And it catches other people, you know, when all of a sudden people look at you and said, what have you done? What's
Yes. So thank you very much for having me. It was really a great fun. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Pearl. And
to all of those who are watching, maybe we meet each other in one of the Journey seminars. So who knows?
Beautiful. That would be absolutely wonderful. And we all wish you huge success with this record, the one that's already there, and with anything that's still coming. Your voice is beautiful. Your message is beautiful. May there be abundantly more of it. So thank you very much. Thank you everybody for joining us here today at our interview. Thank you with all my heart. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.